Good morning, everyone. It is day 2. Sorry, my nose itches. Last night, unfortunately, my vitals tanked, and so they had to put me on oxygen. I had a blood pressure of 86 over 45, and so they just put me on some more fluids, and my O2 dropped to 80, which is my oxygen in Colorado, for those that don't know. I'm not sure if it's just in Colorado or everywhere. You want your oxygen to be over 90, and mine dropped to 80. And of course, obviously, having a blood pressure of 80 over 45 is pretty low. Right now, my blood pressure is 101 over 58. Still low, but a lot better. And then my oxygen's at 100%. Overall, it was kind of a rough night. I didn't really get very much sleep. It doesn't matter how many painkillers you're on. They did just cut through nerves and bone, and it's just kind of finding a position that feels good, feels comfortable. I have ice packs on. I did run out of my PCA, my PCA, which is called, sorry, it's early. PCA stands for patient-controlled analgesic. So basically, every 15 minutes, I can hit a button and it delivers pain medication. In this case, it's Dilaudid because I am allergic to morphine. But I ran out last night, and so we're kind of working our way back up to having my pain under control. They're also treating me with oral medications, oral pain medications, as well as oral muscle relaxers. Just because the worst part of it is the muscle spasms, because you can absolutely do nothing to control that. It's still dark outside, but I have a really great view of the Boulder Mountains. I don't spend very much time up here because I'm from Colorado Springs. So today's plan is I sat up today by myself, so I'm sitting up in my chair by myself. I did adjust myself. And the goal today is to hopefully see if I can sit up on the end of the bed, if anything. Right now I do have a Foley catheter in, because I can't walk as of yet, but I really want to be able to sit on at least the end of the bed today, and try to kind of regain that motion, because eventually I'd like to be able to get up to use the restroom. Now, I will be completely non-weight bearing for the 4 weeks, because I don't live in Boulder, so I don't use I won't be using their preferred physical therapist, and so I have to wait 4 weeks before I see a physical therapist in Colorado Springs. What else? But yeah, that's my goal today, is to sit up on the end of this dang bed, and then hopefully by tomorrow to be able to crutch to the bathroom at least, or to the restroom. It's right around the corner. I have a fairly nice room. It's pretty big. It fits my family in it. Yeah, that's your PCA. This is a pump to be delivering my fluids. But yeah, so far, first thing in the morning, it is 6:38. And I'm doing okay. Trying to just get this pain back under control, because it is a lot. It is a lot. Can't really cough, can't laugh, things like that. Anything that jars your body, because you can legitimately feel it. It's kind of like whenever you get your tongue pierced or you break a finger or anything like that. You don't realize how much you use that object or how much you need it until you can't. And then it's like, wow, this is really connected to everything. So laughing and sneezing and coughing and things like that, those are actually very painful and very uncomfortable. And I know that no matter what painkiller I take or anything like that, it's not going to get rid of the pain, entirely. It's just going to be taking the edge off of it, which is really just what you need at this point, is to just kind of get a breather, because it's overwhelming, because it's constant. Because I am actually laying on one of the incisions into my hip. Dr. McDan uses 2 incisions, one kind of like at the top and one in the back. And I'm actually rested right up against the one on my bum because there's really no other way for me to sit. I think I gave you guys like a kind of a short scene of what it looks like yesterday. Let me see what I can do. Yes.
Until then, they figured that Alan's snow plowing business would keep them both busy.
That's for my scope.
They were just trying to make
this
things
is the incision from the PAO, and the other one is actually...
Unfortunately, a tragic turn of events
right
was on the horizon,
and
it would involve the couple's friend and customer,
so I'm kind of, as you can tell,
Jenkins.
sitting right on top of it, and as fun as exciting as it sounds, it's not. I will be continuing to do updates all throughout the day, and hopefully just show you guys, you know, that a person can do anything they set their minds to. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I really kind of wish I had started way before, so you could kind of see everything that I've gone through to get up to this point. You know, I used to work 40 plus hours a week at like my favorite place with like the favorite doctor's office in the world, and like the most wonderful people for some of the most wonderful doctors, and I was really happy and all those things, and to get rear-ended and have this my whole life kind of just be altered has been very difficult and emotional, and you know, a lot of things. And then I had to file disability, and unfortunately can't just file disability for one thing, and I do have several back injuries. I have 2 discs that are actually resting right up against my spinal cord. I do have a permanent 10-pound weight restriction from a car accident a few years ago. I've been in 4 car accidents, and I was a passenger in all of them, but the last one I was actually driving when she rear-ended us, and the reason why I tore my labrum is because I tensed up, and it just took it out. So unfortunately, I've been in a lot more car accidents than most people in my life, but again, I was only driving for one of them, and it was not my fault. So just kind of dealing with that, dealing with, you know, people knowing things that I kind of wanted to keep to myself so that I could continue to be in the nursing field. But looks like I need to kind of change the ideals of what I want to do in life. You know, I have different options. I was really thinking about starting to do nails, but I'm not sure. It's kind of up in the air. It's really hard whenever you spend almost an entire decade on your chosen craft and your chosen field, and then to be told that the odds of you ever like operating again as in the nursing field, it kind of, when it gets taken away from you, it's rough. It's a hard thing to chew. It's a hard thing to deal with. So I've been trying to work with that. But you guys will see how I'm doing from here on. And then when we do my left hip, I'll actually get that from the beginning, from the scope, you know, and all the doctor's appointments into the finish. Sorry, this thing is like really itching me. I'm not sure how I'm going to break this up, if I'm going to break this up to like different parts and post something every day, or if I'm going to just kind of string them all together so you can kind of get it all at once instead of sitting on the edge of your seat. I mean, it's really nothing that exciting other than just getting up and persevering and walking and doing the dang thing. But I'm going to go for right now. I hear that Noel's getting out of the shower. But I love you all, and I thank you all for your support. Yeah. Bye.
Okay, keep bending this knee so you can get both feet touching the ground. You're allowed to let this one rest on the ground. It's just when we're walking, you can't step.
Watch him, Sophia, and make sure he doesn't put his hands anywhere.
And breathe. Would you like some water? Maybe you can get that. It's hard to drink when you're in bed. Are you feeling dizzy?
No dizzy.
Okay,
I know my blood pressure is low.
Yay.
Yeah.
Because usually this is the dizzy part.
Yeah. I was 80 over.
I have 54. Yeah, well, that's very low.
No, it's not.
Relatively high now, right? So do you like being an LPN? Where do you work?
Well, currently I don't. But
Well, right, but when you were working.
Alliance Family Practice and urgent
Oh,
care.
nice. And you got a lot of action there.
Yeah.
No, I just know that I have, my kids are all sorts of different types of things. Busy places.
Oh, we're private practice too. We do our own bubble study, like all of our, we have a cardiologist, we have a endocrinologist, we got pediatrics, we do our own ultrasounds, do our own x-rays.
Oh, really?
Private practice urgent care, cancer, everything. So.
He can come over here too if he wants to. He wants to see us. Just let him kind of hang out. Oh man, you made it.
I did.
Do you want to try to just stand with the walker and see how that feels? And you can put it down and notch it. You said 5'3"?
5'3.5". And a half. Gotta have that.
Okay. So the deal is with the walker.
Put all of my weight on my left leg.
Yeah, this one is just kind of floating. And if you're just standing, it could rest down. But when you do take steps, it's not a hop. It's a lean on the arms and float. So how you feeling falling asleep wise?
Falling asleep at night?
No, right now.
Oh, no.
The drugs make people fall asleep right now.
Oh.
And that's what it looked like you were doing, Lexie.
Well, it started spasming, so I'm.
Yeah.
No, I know. I know it is. You're doing a lot right now. Okay.
Okay, so I
What we're gonna
feel like
do
right now
now-
I'm more. My right foot's flatter down than my left foot.
Okay. So go on ahead and sweep that left cheek forward.
Oh, my right leg is also. I know one leg's always longer than my right leg's a lot longer than
Oh, it is? Okay. No, that's like the left one's not going to happen. So you can go on ahead when you're ready and stand up. We'll eventually do this the right way, but if it's easier for you now to put both hands on the walker, you may do that.
Oh, normally we don't.
Normally we have one hand back, but
To help push up.
just remember your left leg's doing most of the work, and then your arms are going to push you the rest of the way. So this is all about you.
I think I do normally when I get up, I do put with the scope.
Nice job. Now what you're going to do, if you're ready to sit, you may, but I want you to sit more up to the right. And if you can take a wiggle step more to the right, that would even be better. And just kind of feel how this is going to be. Are you ready to sit down? If you're not, you can just stand. You're not going any further. But if you're getting dizzy, you would be back in the bed.
I'm not dizzy.
Oh, good. Wow. Can you push on your arms and just lift yourself up and down like you're taking a step? Nice. You're strong. Strong lady.
See what she's doing.
When you're ready to sit, I'm going to have you swing this right foot forward a little bit so it's in front of you.
Okay,
So you ready to sit? Why don't we sit?
okay.
Okay. So reach one hand back at least so you know where we're going.
Okay.
You want me to scoop that out?
I don't know if I can move my leg.
I'll help. If you'll take care of the upper part, I'll take care of the And if you'll point this right toe, you'll know where the ground is. There you go.
Oh, he's going potty.
All right.
Yeah.
Now
I
we
just
do it.
changed your diaper, Mama.
No fainting.
No feeling.
So the next thing to do is just to start kind of creeping your bottom around.
Okay.
So you're
Sophia, why don't you grab her water?
and You want me to hold your leg
Yes,
for
please.
that? Okay.
I don't know if I feel like I have like nose joint.
Oh, you're really going now. Yep, get that up. You're doing great. And you scoot up further.
I don't want to.
You got it.
I don't want
Okay.
to.
Now go ahead and go down.
Clutch it. I don't know.
I think I maybe go up a little bit.
Make sure it's
Yeah,
not
you
short.
could, yeah, if you could do it. Be great. Great.
Okay. So,
Now, that's fine. And now lay down. I want to see if you can stretch yourself out to lay down. Just rest in that position for a little bit before we put you up. The body kind of gets used to being up and it needs to stretch down
okay.
for a few seconds. Yeah, it's still tight.
Yeah.
You want me to put your head up now? Or I'll give you the controls to do it.
Okay, do it for
Okay.
a little bit.
Let me look for the controls. He's fine. I have 8 grandchildren, okay? It's a lot. So I'm going to give you this when you're ready to run the bed. Up, down, inside out, head up, feet up.
So you do the head or the feet up
Or
first?
whatever you want to do. No, you're in control. It's an amazing thought, isn't it? You are so cute. My youngest is a year and he's not quite walking yet. It's close.
That's what we hear from a lot of people.
Sabrina started walking at 7.5 months.
Way too early. Sorry.
Yeah. He rolled over at a month.
Oh my gosh.
Like he was just, like I think it was that, like 2 days after he
He was
turned a
just
month old.
done with this baby stuff.
Yeah, and
He
then he
doesn't
started
wanna
rolling
be big.
over, and then he started crawling like 4 months. And then he said, screw it, I'm walking. So now he walks.
Yep. He's got such a funny look on his face. This little guy who's a year now has 4 teeth up and 4 teeth down, and he just is always grinning with this full set of teeth. It's hilarious. Okay, now here is this. Do you want to take a shot of it?
Is it ready?
I don't know. There's one way to find out. There you go. Okay, there's that. This will just keep handy. I don't know where to put it. We could probably hang it here. It really will eventually be the best way that you can get in and out of bed.
Okay.
We're not quite ready to use it completely yet, but here's this. Call right. I didn't pull anything out. I'm very proud of myself here.
She's got a lot hooked to her, huh?
You're done. Can I get you a warm blanket to put under this stuff?
I actually have a heated blanket.
Okay. Nice. But we have them here. I mean, I can just grab you one. Okay. If you want it. They're kind of cozy. I'll be right back.
My mom.
Proud of you, babe. It's okay.
Yeah, you can finish recording this.
You can finish it now.
Well, hello again, everybody. Sorry, my face is itching. I'm off oxygen. Yay! Today is day 2. It is the afternoon. It is almost 2 o'clock. So it seems like last night what happened was my night nurse wasn't administering the medications as she should, and so this morning we kind of had, or this afternoon we've kind of had a backslide, and the pain's kind of ratcheted back up, and so we've been kind of dealing with that. I did get out of the bed today, or I stood up with the walker. I'm still absolutely non-weight bearing on my right leg, because obviously those bones have to grow around, grow together and all that stuff. It's just the screws holding them in place right now. In 6 months I'll have the screws removed and then a fully formed new joint. But yes, I did stand today for a little bit. It took a lot for me. It hurts really bad, and I wasn't a candidate to get the spinal or an epidural, so I have all of the feeling below my waist, all of it. And so it's a little more of an uphill battle for me. I'm highly allergic to morphine, and whenever I get an epidural, my vitals about 23 minutes later, because I have a delayed response, will just tank. Kind of like what my blood pressure, my pulse, my oxygen was doing last night. Only they have to actually give me medication to wake me back up once I pass out. So, but yeah, so I stood up today. Yay! That was a hurdle. My goal for the day was to only sit on the end of the bed. So I'm pretty excited that I actually was able to stand up. It took a lot, or stand up. It took a lot. I'm in a lot more pain than I was earlier, but to me it was absolutely worth it because, like, it's the first step to recovery, and it just really just gets me pumped. Tomorrow, physical therapy is going to come in again. We're going to do a little more work, and then occupational therapy is going to come in, and we're going to actually kind of try to see if I can get around with the walker. So that should be exciting and fun. Hopefully tonight's nurses are a little bit better, although my care here has been absolutely exceptional, and I've loved everybody here. They're all so nice and kind and generous, and they're really thoughtful and things like that. My floor nurse last night just wasn't, she got a little, sorry, my hair got caught in my IV. There you go. She just, she probably got sidetracked, got busy, and just wasn't able to do it. Last night had zero sense of time. It gets dark in here. The only thing I know is that whenever my PCA tells me to hit the button, I hit the button. Because again, I can feel everything below my waist. Normally, whenever a PAO is done, you're given either an epidural or a spinal block, and that greatly reduces the amount of pain that you're in because you can't feel it. Like I said, I'm not a candidate for either one of those, so we're trucking through. The nurses and physical therapy and everybody was explaining to me this is like one of the nastiest surgeries that they do here. Just because if you think about it, they are going into your pelvis and they are shattering it, breaking it, and then using those pieces and rearranging them to create a hip joint, and then just screwing them in place. So it's not for the weak, I guess. It is an intense surgery, and physical therapy is going to be intense. I don't get to actually start real physical therapy until 4 weeks from now. Them coming in is just making sure that I can leave the hospital, that once I get outside of here, I'll be pain managed and be able to function at my house without being a significant fall risk. So, but the hard work will actually start in 4 weeks. After my 2-week checkup, I get my stitches out. And then because I don't live in Boulder, I can't go to one of his preferred PTs. I have to go to somebody in Colorado Springs. My wonderful friend Gene works at the physical therapist that I'm going to become seeing, and he is familiar with the PAO, because that is also kind of hard to find because adults having hip dysplasia, it's not a widely known thing. Most people know about hip dysplasia is that it happens in dogs. Because normally it's caught when you're a baby. So definitely make sure they either if you have any hint, any family history, anything, if you have an overly large baby, because it can be congenital or situational, I would definitely go make sure that their hips are checked. And if you're still paranoid about it, like my son Ronan, he had actually had ultrasounds done on his hips just to make sure. We'll have them done again. My daughter, we're going to go ahead and have hers x-rayed, and sorry, I'm still on my pain meds. We're trying to get her to have I just lost my train of thought. Oh, sorry, excuse me. We're going to get hers x-rayed and then ultrasound again, just because every once in a while she complains about popping, and joints pop and snap, crackle, and all that stuff. However, whenever you have hip dysplasia, a lot of times you get this thing called hip impingement. Now, your femoral head is supposed to be kind of round, and then it has, a thin shaft. Mine, because my hip wasn't formed correctly, I just kind of had a rod. So it kind of looked like this, and I didn't have the dents that you're supposed to for your bone to rotate in the ball and socket. So what would happen is when I would go to do something, that popping that I was feeling was actually my bones hitting each other. It was my femoral head banging into what little bit of a pelvic socket area that I had. It's not a good thing. And then when my labrum was torn, because I got in a car accident 2 years ago that tore my labrum, because of that, the labrum kind of like hangs around the femoral head. When it breaks, it's kind of like if you cut the toe off a sock. And so it's just kind of sitting at the base. So whenever I would go to move and my bones would hit bones, they'd be pinching the labrum, which made it that much worse. You know, and eventually over time, obviously, it's been 18 months because the day that I was supposed to schedule my surgery, I found I was pregnant with my son, my little miracle baby, my second one. And then obviously I had to go through labor and delivery with him, and then now he's 9 months old. So it's been a total of 18 months since I was originally supposed to get this done. And so the amount of damage in there was a lot worse than what they thought. But they were able to get it all taken care of in order for me to get the PAO today. So it's really important, if you have any inkling that something may be wrong, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Because going through this as an adult is rough. It's kind of like getting your tonsils out. No, not knocking anybody's had their tonsils out, but holy crap, you have no idea how much you use your hip until you're in a kind of situation like this. So I did get a video of me standing, and it didn't really get me scooting off the bed because we were running. We all kind of forgot, but my mother and my daughter and my son were here earlier, and they did get that, so I will show you guys that. Bear with me, it is painful. You can't hear me breathing. I'm probably cussed a couple times. I'm trying to keep the language in check, but it just happens. But again, you guys have all been so very supportive of me, and I'm so very appreciative of it. You have no idea. I just want to walk again, guys. I just want to get back to dancing. I just want to get back to doing these things. And it's day 2, and I stood up, and I feel like I'm already ahead of the game. If you ever have any questions or anything like that, feel free to just drop a question in the comments, and I will do my best to get back to you. It may not be right away, but keep in mind I am still in the hospital and heavily sedated. But yeah, thank you guys so much again, and I hope this just brings awareness to all this stuff and just makes you feel like you can do it. Don't ever feel like you can't do it. No matter what it is, bone broken, losing a limb, whatever it is, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to take years and years and years to be able to go play in the park with my children. I'm going to take as short as time as possible, usually about a year recovery per hip. So I'm hoping that once I get my left hip done, I can kind of rehab them more together and then just bang it out and get it done before that year's up. But those are goals. I'm reaching for them. Short-term goals is tomorrow I'm going to take 2 steps with the walker. I'm not going to be able to put weight on my bad hip, but just kind of take 2 steps in the walker without passing out or anything like that. Because that's their main concern when you're in this much pain, is they don't want you to pass out. Plus my blood pressure has still been quite low. I think the last reading, it was 84/56. I'm just trying to keep them on their toes, keep them interested. But yeah, so again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Just drop them in the comments. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or maybe later tonight. Who knows? Bye.